I know there's one of the comedians made a comment. I forgot which comedian it was. I think it was Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney made a comment. He says, you know, when you die, you come in this world, when you leave, you leave with nothing. You come in with nothing, you leave with nothing. He said, but you have to give the ancient Egyptians credit. They tried to take that stuff with them. Oil, sacred oil. When they opened up Tutankhamun's tomb, the oil inside of these alabaster jars were fresh, just like it was yesterday. Just like it was yesterday. And that's over 4,000 years old. It was still fresh. These are little headrests, okay, to keep in alignment. Why you keep messing this neck up? This is what you need.
I could stay like that.
And so the modern day chiropractor get their study from ancient Kemet. It says that many of your ailments and disease comes from your back being out of line. So it's important to keep in alignment. Yeah, so keep the body. Again, this is a spirit door. Okay, a spirit door.
Watch.
But now I want to teach over here.
All right, I'm going up here. See you later, alligator.
I was.
Okay. So you know how they have the confession booth and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Look.
Okay.
So the high priest, so when you came in to pay respect to your ancestor here, the high priest is sitting back there, right? So you come in and then you would, now remember this, in a chamber that's going to echo, so his voice would be vibrating. Have you followed the laws of Ma'at? How about that fried chicken sandwich I saw you eat? Okay. Have you paid homage to the Nectaroon? I saw you skipping at the chicken, so the priest would be back there and you would, priest, that was the last chicken sandwich, I'm going to do it again. So you would do your confession here and everything, and the priest would be here checking on you, okay? So this course, a lot of times people will say, well, come on, Mfundishi, all the kings, they're like yellow bones, what's going on here, This has nothing to do with the complexion of the people. The dark, dense star called Sirius B represents the male, who protects the bright star, Sirius A. So the women, the royal women will be depicted with the yellow ochre, and the men with the red ochre. I heard one of the guides here say, he was outside and she never came outside. I'm like, what is this? And the people taking notes. This guy's the king. He was raised to be the king. He was never out in the field. Okay? So this is a symbolic red ochre that's symbolic of protection and power and authority. Okay, so I just need you to make sure that y'all understood. Now, everything you saw from this point was still the old period. When we go into this next room, now we move into the middle period, or the second golden age. So this is dynasty 1 through 6. On today, who are the last group to come from ancient Kemet before the Arab invasion. They would sahu the body, wrap it, prepare it, maybe put it in the karas, and then they would place it in the mountain. So here was a ruler, Menkatra, actually put his tomb inside of the mountain here. Now, he knew during this time period, because this is the second golden age, they already had graves that had been robbed from the first golden age and during the intermediate period. So he put up a dummy area. So he had a dummy area with fake coffin and some other stuff like that. So, and threw some trinkets there so the thieves would come and think they robbed it and leave it. Yeah. But then he had a bottom chamber to it. So for over 2,000 years, he got away with it. Wow. Then the Wazungu came, the Europeans came, when they came with their machines, Geiger counter, oh no, there's something under the ground. Bombed it. They literally blew a hole in it. And bombed his, and busted it. So you can see here, see the arrow pointing here? So they bombed it, they exploded, they blew it, and then the Louvre. And so all the stuff you see in this room was a result of being down in his tomb.
All this stuff in here?
Yes, all the stuff you see in here.
Yeah. Bro. That's sad.
So for 2,000 years he got away But see, he wanted to keep this for, again, he was trying to duplicate. Remember, as I showed you the Karas before, you want to duplicate what it was like when you were living. So he's wealthy, so he has a room for just the bakers, just the butchers, a room for, you know, people doing specific things. But this is my favorite down here. A eucalyptus indoor pool. Oh. Can you imagine you drinking hibiscus tea, iced tea, inside of your pool with eucalyptus trees all around and you just chilling, you know? Okay. So I got to duplicate this in Ghana.
Okay, but this is.
That's the priest of cleanliness. So your job was to clean. So hair attracts lint and dirt. So you can't have a bald head and a beard. You got to cover everything. You can't have no hair in your arms,
Eyelashes, eyebrows,
everything.
Yeah.
Right. But now you didn't stay a war priest for life.
Yeah.
You might have been a war priest for years, 6 months, 3 months. And priests in ancient Kemet is not like priests today. You went home in the evening, you had family.
Okay.
That syllabus, wait, I can't even say it.
Celibacy.
Huh? Celibacy, that's what was created by the Europeans later, okay? No, life, reproduction, sex with your mate, and all of that was encouraged. We want to, you know, populate. So, you know, there was no kinky stuff like that. Okay?
But you had to hand down this stuff to your
You want some sons and some daughters.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like in India where you got rid of your daughter. No, your daughter was a gift.
Right.
You know, in fact, your daughter is the one who carries the lineage. The male son doesn't carry the lineage. He might be the oldest son might be what we call a hereditary priest. That means that he's next in line. But he has to marry his sister or his stepsister. So this is why polygamy was important. So if I married my sister, I'm not having any children with her. She has a husband and I have another wife. But we are the Kemet and the ruler. But now I want my son to marry my sister's daughter.
Just to pass on the
lineage.
Okay.
Okay.
No, it makes
So
sense.
trying to explain.
I never understood.
Even in there's other countries, I think in ancient China and other places like that, they had something very, very similar. You know, some of the old kings trying to keep their bloodline. Once you pass the bar priest, then the priest can wear his hair any way he wants. Locks, afro, you know. You'll see the linen over on the wall here again. I don't want you to think that this guy was cheap or that he didn't have the same type of clout as the guys over there with the granite box. Wood was rare in ancient Kemet. So that means he had to import this wood from Lebanon and Asia, or he had to go further up south and get this wood from the Congo or Kenya or Tanzania, places like that. So you had to be wealthy to have a wooden casket. So I'm just trying to let you know. This guy had the same clout that the one out there had.
I'm kind of frantic right now. Sorry.
In my art.
It's like a ball.
Pass that around. It's a piece of black. Aura is about the length of their body, so your stone should be within that. So I just keep a couple of... Jet is petrified leaves. Okay. Now, most people make money. That's not the problem. What do you do with the money when you get it? In fact, wealth has nothing to do with how much money you make. In Asian community, the dollar stays approximately 20 days. In the European Jewish community, the dollar stays in that community approximately 12 days. In the average European community, the dollar stays 10. In the average African American neighborhood, because we don't have a community, neighborhood, it stays 6 hours. Now you wonder why you can't commute. Jet reminds me that I have to make my money work for me. And then this is pyrite, which is called fool's gold because it looks like gold. It does not look like it was gold? Yeah, here, this is for you. You can keep that. That means you're going to get wealthy one day. You maybe take care of moms and dad. Okay. So you're going to see these combinations going over and over. All your internal organs and stuff like that. So that means in your intuition. But usually that happens when you fast. That happens when you fast. That's why all the great premonitions come is after you fast. You fasted for 21 days. Right. We get ready to do a 21 day. Thinking your mind is clear. Okay.
Stuff like the Muslims. We just don't eat any cooked food.
Now, look at these guys' face. All these were rooms. Look at their faces.
Look at their faces.
All their noses chiseled. Oh, I only gave you one room before. I said because they wanted to racism.
Right.
Okay, basically deform me so you can't see the identity. The second reason is that whenever a statue is completed, a ceremony is done by the priest. He takes the adas and he puts it, it's a special instrument, and he puts it up to the mouth of the statue. And he says, may you breathe in the next world. May you speak in the next world. He puts it to the nose. May you breathe in the next world. May you have life forever after. He puts it up to the eyes. May you see in the next world. May you reflect all that is there to us. Okay? So the ceremony is done. So it was believed that if I chisel the eye out, cut the nose, bust the lips, that you killed the soul of the statue. But it didn't work, because I can still feel the brother. Jhutyms back there, where they bust a hole in. Well, this family thought they had a nice, secure spot. They had a nice mountain on the side. They dug a little hole. They covered it up. All the family members was placed inside, and they were safe again for 2,000 years. Until Wazoo came with their machine. There's something in there. Blew the hole open in the 1800s, and this is the result. Metropolitan got all this stuff. You have to see the greatest thieves were the French. They stole so much stuff from Napoleon that they had to create a building for all the stuff they stole. So that's the Louvre, the French museum, and that's the largest museum in the world. The British couldn't be outdone, so the British stole almost as much stuff. In fact, took some of the French stuff. They had to open up the British Museum. Their child, America, got into play in the 1800s and stole as much stuff as they did. So this is the Metropolitan, the third largest. Then you go to Germany, and then you go to places like that.
They added this mirror, right?
Yeah, they added it, so you can see it.
Yeah. Look at the mirror. See the mirror? It's showing you what's inside.
So yeah, the mirror is just reflecting what's showing you that the writing is in every place, inside, exterior. Just to come over here just for a second. We see these little plows. These little plow, the word for plow here is called what? Myrrh. Myrrh. Myrrh is also the word for what? Love and cultivation. So love in ancient Kemet means to cultivate a relationship. You can't fall in love. Just like you can't fall into a cultivated garden. To get a garden to yield what you want it to yield takes cultivation. Cultivation means weeding. It means nurturing. It means watering. It means caring at all levels. That's what a loving relationship is supposed to be. So in ancient Kemet, when we talked about myrrh, it's not the same way the Europeans are talking about love. Oh boy, I saw her yesterday, I'm in love. No, it didn't work like that. You're infatuated. Okay. Love is something you have to work at that's continuous. Like even your children, you're gonna have to weed, what we call weeding. That means picking their friends. I remember we had some little kids in the neighborhood. I was like, no, you can't play with him. He terrorizing everything. And he stole my coffee cake. You know, so you gotta weed, you pick the schools that your kids go to. That's another form of weeding and stuff like that there. You cultivate, the mythological Greek name, Sphinx, Haru and Maketi. And again, this is made from diorite, which is so hard, 9.0, and look, the nose is still missing. So you really had to go, they can't tell you it fell, because it would dent the ground. Okay, so somebody had to go out of their way to chisel that.
That's the diorite you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they still
Holy of Holy, when you had a temple, you had different sections. The first part of the temple, everybody could go in. The second part of the temple would be for the priests and priestesses. Then they would have libraries, and then they would have a section called the Holy of Holies, where the sacred shrine is. And inside the Holy of Holies, they might have a golden statue of Amen, or Mut, or Nekabet, or Aset, right? And they would be placed inside of something like this. And then here's a picture of a ruler that would be placed. And they would bring this out during certain, like the equinoxes or the solstice, or wherever it put the beginning of the new year, and parade it through the community, through the town, and then put it back. But here's a ruler, so you can see what his left foot forward. He's carrying a separate staff that we call it a heka. Okay. And he's wearing the red crown, and again he has the short skirt.
What does this mean?
We're going into this room, going into the third golden age. So there was an invasion in between the two, where foreigners came in and ruled, and then brothers from the south again came and had to kick the foreigners out. The person next, every statue in there is of a woman, even though it's going to look like a man. It's Kemet Hatshepsut Amun. Now, it's not going to say that anywhere in there. They're just going to say Hatshepsut because it's not their job to preserve our ancestral things. So I'm going to show you the idiosyncrasies, you know, that they have. But it's Kemet Hatshepsut Amun, which means that she is the molder and divine leader for women, for Amen. She said that she was born of immaculate conception, virgin birth of Mut and Amen. And we leave Amen out of the name. Like we say Tet Ankh Amen, because Amen was the deity at the time and he was giving homage to Amen. While Kemet Hatshepsut Amun was the same thing, but they leave Amen out. 4 ways we honor our ancestors. Number 1, we speak their name the way they spoke it. So we don't say, oh, that's King Tut. No, that's Nasut Biti Tut Ankh Amen Heka Uwentsu. Okay, so we say his name. Okay. Second of all, we use their completed works. Not like the Wazungu by stealing and hiding in your house. Okay. Thirdly, we complete their incompleted works. So that means that we got to still get ourselves together. They left the stuff behind so that we can raise our consciousness. And fourth, we leave images and edifices up there. That's why you go to almost any park in America, you can see a statue up there, right? Yeah. George Washington was here. Yeah. You know, because Pharaoh didn't exist during this time period.
Is that Arabic again?
No, that's later from Greek. Okay. It came from the Great House. Okay. But we didn't call our leader the Great House. Right. That's like saying, oh, the White House is on TV. No, that clown called Trump is on the TV. Hatshepsut, again, they left the Kemet part out and they left the Amen out. So that's signing 100 papers a day. Bam! You do stamps. So the idea of having your stamp and your seal comes from ancient Kemet. So you see that this is all stamps and seals.
Is this like they replicated how they put the wax in the stamp?
No, like a notary. If you get something notarized and you get a stamp on it like that, that's what this would be. Okay. This is Haru Emaketi of Hatshepsut Aman. We just left her room. I don't know why they don't have it in the next room, but they stuck it up in here. But this is her.
It was there.
It was
at one point. Yeah, it was there.
Anyhow, they got it over here in the corner.
Yeah.
But this belonged to her. So every ruler put their face on top of the line, showing that they were the high priest at that time. Each ruler is the high priest. He appoints the high priest in every temple. It would be like the president's cabinet. Yeah, you appoint your own cabinet like that? Okay. So the high priest, so when the new ruler came in and you were the old priest, you might be out of a job.
Just like that.
So here's a shin. Can anybody else read this besides Wajedi? The name?
Heka. So Waset or Amen?
No, Waset.
Waset.
Heka Waset. Today, that would be present day Luxor today. They got a Greek name, so they got rid of Waset. Age, second golden age, and third golden age. It was important for a tribe to sit in the royal court. The tribe. Again, adornment. This would be called Sa, which is spiritual protection, not just jewelry. So again, you have the sacred stones, carnelian. Here's and this is fiance again. Made from bread. What they did is they smelted down sand and made glass. When a person becomes a high priest in my order, they have to come and translate this wall.
Wow.
This was the Sabbath high priest. And so when you can read this, now we know you're ready. So it's just like an Arabic imam has to know Arabic, a Muslim imam. A Hebrew rabbi has to know Hebrew. A Kemetic priest should know Meduneshi. Unfortunately, you got some people today faking the phone. Het Habu sometimes was depicted as just a golden calf or a cow. Sometimes just the head of the cow. Sometimes a woman with cow ears.
That's what was on her, Aketi, her.
Right, on top of the crown?
Yeah.
Yes. So, and sometimes they would show the king sucking from the udders of the cow, showing getting nourishment from the cow. So the cow was symbolic of great mother, nourishment, survival. In many ancient time cultures, wealth, even among the Maasai still today, wealth was determined on your cattle, how many cattle you had and stuff like that. And cattle was sacred, they just wasn't just eaten like we do today. And that's why even the Hindu and the cow was sacred. We don't eat the cow. But this is a symbol of Hitler. To start out here because these lips is just fantastic. This is Hemet Nasut Waret Tayi. This is Akhenaten's mother's mouth. This is what they call yellow jasper. So the stone is yellow jasper. You can see it all the way through. But look at those lips. Don't you want to just kiss those lips? If you look at almost every newsman anchor, they don't have no lips. You know the person lying, he ain't got no lips. I don't believe nothing they say, he ain't got no lips. How do you paint in the... And this is Nefertiti. Not the Nefertiti you see in the Berlin Museum.
Right.
The forgery. The white Jhutyms just painted sculptured his wife and planted it in the ground and maybe he found it. She's a sister with some got braids, locks, thick lips, nose. And this is her daughter. And later this daughter here, Agnes, will marry Tut Ankh Amun. This is the Aten. The Aten is like the disc, is the sun, and the rays of the sun give you light. And I guess he's getting ready to have some grilled duck for dinner. And they're praying to the Aten. And you see little sandal straps coming down. Yeah. You see the arm coming down. Okay. But I want you to look at the fingers. And if you look at the toes, you can see where pedicure and manicure. We are the creators of that. Pedicure and manicure. When this was done, there is no Greece, there is no Rome, there's no Italy, there's no France, there's no England. They haven't even got there yet. All right, so I'm just showing you the sophistication of what we do. The clothes, remember I said the clothes would change? Yeah. Another whole style, different hairstyle, different clothes. But see, these are locks, these are twisted. If you can see, the hair was twisted. And you can see the pleats and see-through. The Islamic salat.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Coming right from right. Coming straight from here.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. And the offering.
I had a question. They like to always say that their hair was wigs. It wasn't wigs.
No, but they did have wigs.
I realized they had wigs.
But the wig was imitating the real hairstyle.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Now here, there was no jails in ancient Kemet. 4,000 years, no jails, no prison. But they had a judiciary system, which we're imitating today. This person was found guilty, so he gets a spanking in front of the royal court. That would be, because to be embarrassed was like, that was your judgment. Like, you know, you might have to go do some hard work. You know, like let's just say the sister stole my chicken, right? And I brought her before. And she said, you can't deny it, you still got feathers on your mouth. Right, so you're guilty. Everybody say, okay, you gotta work for me for 2 days, and then you get a spanking out in front of the, you know, at 12 o'clock noon when everybody's outside. So he spanks him, he spanks her, he spanks him, there's a spanking going down the line. Okay. If you ain't spanking the guy hard enough, then one of the officials would come by and spank you. Okay, so that's what was happening. Look at, here's the loop. Not Nefer. Okay, here's the royal lute. Okay, the banjos, and you see musical instruments. And you notice this is the first time in the whole time you see the horse.
Right.
Third golden age. The Hyksos brought the horse into Egypt. And that's how, one of the ways they were able to defeat the Kemetic.
Wow.
We took their instrument, made the chariot more agile, faster, quicker, brought in the fastest horses in the world from Yemen. And even today, the thoroughbred horses who are the best horses come from Yemen. Okay. So ancient Kemet brought in the thoroughbred. And so they were able to defeat the Hyksos with their own military, their own weapons. They just refined them. Here you can even see the type of grain, the wheats and oats. That's how good the artists were. They were able to duplicate the very grains that they were using to make their breads and stuff out. Grapes, everything. Like this one. Give me the type of fish.
That's a donkey or a horse?
Yeah, mule.
Mule, yeah.
It's a red snapper.
He was actually a military general. But when he became the ruler, he was trying to get respect from everybody. So he wanted everybody to think he was a great scribe. So he had them commission him. Or he took somebody else's statue and put his name on it. Either one or the other. But anyhow, this is terrible. Here's the last ruler before the great Seti and Mesurah kings came. So here's the last ruler of the so-called Egypt. So now they created the helmet to look just like that. So the little coils there is symbolic of the little knots in your head. And actually the word nap, I know y'all afraid of the word nap. Y'all been made afraid of the word nap. Nap is the word for hair in Medunetia.
Really?
Wow.
So I'm proud of my dad.
Yeah. I'm nappy and I'm proud.
Yeah.
Okay. That temple is put there by this is by the Ptolemy era. So this is when the Greeks came in.
That's when you see the wrong glyphs and all of that stuff in there.
But I want you to see that the science was still there.
Yeah,
Look at that.
yeah.
This is perfectly aligned. And it's aligned still with the sun rising and setting. So they still align it. And look at the baguette symbol. See the baguette, the wing disc?
Right.
So
They put crowns and stuff on top of this. Weird.
this is the papyrus with the two national plants. So that's the real papyrus. Real papyrus. I didn't say that. People laughing and stuff. I didn't say that. Now we're moving to the Greek era. This is still Egypt, but now the Greeks, the Ptolemies are in charge. So you need to understand, Ptolemy is a title, like king. Cleopatra is a title. I know y'all think Cleopatra is just her name. Cleopatra Bernice, Cleopatra, so people had names. Ptolemy Philadelphia. The city of Philadelphia is named after one of the kings of Egypt. Ptolemy Philadelphus. So Philadelphia is named after them. Cleopatra was Cleopatra the seventh. And there were 7 Cleopatras and 14 Ptolemies. So it sounded like to me the Cleopatra was wearing the Ptolemies out. Okay, all right. But this is like what they call a toga. Okay. Senate, the Greek Senate had to dress like this, like the ancient Kemetic. That means that you were a person of knowledge. And you learned from somebody who studied in Kemet. So that was the thing. So everybody was trying to walk around with a piece of cloth around their arm, which is the word like S. Right. Came in, they commissioned Ptolemy, Herodotus to put the step before the altar. It's all still done from ancient Kemet. Here's Haru in the center. Here's Mut. So you have Amun, Mut, Kansu. And you can see the priests. And you can look at the outfits. Remember I showed you each era, how the outfits changed. 19th dynasty, third golden age. So you see the whole change. You never saw anything like that in the old or the first. That's called a tim. And that's what they would take large objects and bring it on to carry it back in. So the statue would be placed on a tim. And you see the tim is on top of Ma'ah,
Right, that's
which
what I
represents
said,
truth.
Ma'ah, yeah.
Okay.
I see it.
Right, that angle there, that's Ma'ah, that's the word
That's
truth.
Ma'ah.
So that means that the statue, everything is resting on the truth
Foundation.
of Ma'at, yes.
You got